Now I'm a little bit concerned that my little braces here are going to impact too heavily on my axles. So basically I can actually go back in time using my timeline down here to fix this problem. You can see this is where I created my loft. This is the second sketch that I did. This is the first sketch that I did. And the first sketch is the one that I need to edit. So I can actually right click on there and go edit sketch. It'll take me back in time. Now you can see here I've gone across to 5 millimeters here. I can move this across and I can make it even 2 millimeters. Prefer to make it a little bit further, but basically 2 millimeters should be enough in order to cope with that. If I'm really concerned, I might be able to add a little bit more material to the outside of this in order to make that fixed. But I'm going to press on Finish Sketch now, and you'll notice now that they're outside and a lot closer, and a lot more distance is being created from here. So let's just press my home button and see what that looks like. That's a lot better. So it's now time to create my axles. As I said, my axles are going to be cylinders that have a line or slot cut off them. So I'm going to basically create a sketch, and I'm going to create a sketch from the outside of one of my particular planes or faces of my uprights. So now that I've got that, I'm now going to use the project tool, P to project. To project, I'll just project the entire cog of this particular one here. And that will basically press OK on. And we've now got this little one here is the object that we're going to use to create my axle. So I'm going to hit Finish Sketch. I'm now going to press the Modify or press Pull tool, and I'm going to pull that axle right through to object here. So that's going to give me the distance of my axle to come through. Press on, no, I'm going to create a new body first. That's important. And I press OK. So I've now got an axle going right through here. Now it needs to stick out on this side so that I've got some sort of little handle or crank handle on which to actually do that. But let's just put on this side just a little bit of a cap in order so that it doesn't go all the way through. So I'm going to press on I'm going to turn off everything else at this point in time. And I'm going to turn off my spur gear and construction gear. And I'm going to put on here, let's rename this right now, axle. I'm going to press enter, axle, enter. I'm going to use a circle tool. So I'm going to create a sketch on this end here. And I'm going to use the circle tool just to go maybe, yeah, I'll go 10 millimeters wide on that. So that's not going to go through the hole. Let's make it 12 just so it's a little bit wider. And I'm going to press on Finish Sketch. Let's turn the upright back on and we'll see how that doesn't actually impede the brace. So now I'm going to press the upright off again. And I'm going to press Modify, press Pull, and I'm going to pull off both of those to be, let's just go material thickness. Okay, so we've got that main material thickness there, and let's just be really fancy and put a fillet on it, F for fillet, and go around here, and we'll make it main material thickness minus 0.2. So yeah, I've got a nice little flange off there with a little bit of an edge there, so that's actually going to sit on there. Let's see what that looks like through the upright, and we'll turn all these things on as well. So that's what it's going to look like on that side. And on this side, what we need is we're going to need to bring it out so that it's got a bit of a thread on it so that we can actually screw a nut on the end to hold it in place, because we don't want to be gluing things in place if we can help it. We need to glue our wooden parts together, but we need to be able to get access to our cogs and be able to take them apart. So let's actually do a sketch on the end of this. And all we need to do is project the whole thing. Press OK. Press Finish Sketch. I'm going to turn everything else off. You can use the isolate button, but I always forget to do that. And I'm going to modify or press pull this out, and I want about 5 millimeters of thread at least in order to actually work that axle. So now I'm going to create a thread. So create thread. I'm going to create it on this curved surface here. I'm going to make sure it's modeled. That makes it cut in the thread nicely. You notice it sets it up to be an 8 millimeter thread, which is great, but I'm not going to make it the full distance. Instead, remember I made it 5. I'm going to make it go down 5. I'll make it go down 6, so it goes in 1 millimeter. If I make it go the full length, it's actually going to create extra friction inside the holes, which I don't particularly want. So I'm going to press on OK. So I've now got that bolt going through there. And if I turn everything else back on, oops. So what I really should do is I should right click on here and go isolate, and that will isolate it. And then I can go right click, unisolate. That's better. Excuse me. So I've got that coming through. It's now time to model the bolt. So I'm going to create a sketch on here. I'm going to turn off everything apart from the upright. Actually, I don't need to do that. I'll just press circle tool, circle from the middle, and I'm going to go out 8 millimeters there. And now I'm going to use create. So I'm going to make it a nice actual bolt that you'd expect. So I use the polygon tool, circumscribed polygon, and go out. Let's just go out 7. That's basically what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn off or finish the sketch, and I'm going to then go and modify it or extrude it. That one out. Let's just take it out 5 millimeters, which takes it out to the end of that. We're going to choose new body and press OK. And we're going to go nut. So that's our nut, and that's going to slide through there like that. On this one here, we're going to create a little like a wing nut type thing so that we can actually give it a bit of a twist. So let's use a sketch on here of a rectangle, like so, and we'll do dimension here of being, actually, let's do it this way. Rectangle this way so that we can see it's going to be clear. That's the way. So now I'm going to do dimension, main material, dimension from the midpoint to here. So this midpoint to this line here is going to be main material divided by 2. And we'll do a distance here of 15. And the way you get things in the center is you draw a line. So I'm going to go line tool, and you're going to draw a construction line. And we're going to go from the center point to that point there. We'll press the tick button, and we'll make that line up perfectly. And I press finish sketch. I'm now going to modify that out. So let's press the modify button or press pull button. Select all of those and pull it out. Let's just go equals 2 times main material. Press OK. And let's just curve that off nicely. So we'll go F function here, here to here, and here, and here. And our radius is going to be main material. Okay, that's a little like thing that you can actually press on and hold that. You can do a crank arm, like a bicycle crank arm if you really wanted to, but just make sure it's clear of your uprights. So basically, And if I really wanted to fix my uprights again, let's just go back into that sketch now. I could probably do this. Make that 20. That's much better. Okay, so now I've got that one there. I now need to go right click on here, and I'm going to go and press M to move. And I'm going to move bodies this time. And I'm going to move this. And I'm going to move this. And I'm going to create a copy, and I'm going to move it across. And it's 36 is the measurement for this particular size, but you need to line it up and press OK. So now it's all in place. One thing I do need is some washers. Now I only need to model one washer. And the washer's just basically going to sit, a little piece that's going to sit in between here and here in order to make it so that the gears don't move backwards and forwards. So let's just isolate an upright. And remembering which side it is, I'm going to draw a sketch. It's going to be a circle. And I'm going to press here, and I'm going to take it out 8, and another circle out here, and we'll take it out. Let's just take it out 14. I'm going to press on Finish Sketch. I'm going to modify that out. And that's going to go out material thickness. My material thickness. And oops, I'm going to right click on here, go edit feature. That should not be join, it should be new body. And that is going to be my washer. Let's just duplicate it. So M to move. This one here, create copy. Across 36. Okay. And if we go back into construction, we can turn our mid-plane back on that we used before. And we can go create mirror, and this one here and this one here, and our mirror plane is this one here. And now we have our 4 washers in place. We can turn everything else back on. Turn our mid-plane off. And that's pretty much finished in terms of that will work. Having said that, we do need to make it probably look a little bit nicer. It's a little bit sharp, and you can't see as much of the gear system as I'd like. So we could probably play around with this in order to make it a little bit more attractive and visually appealing for people to be able to look at and understand how the gear system works.